Welcome readers, perusers, and bibliophiles of all kinds. I'm General and Poe.
I'm Stone Cold Gene Austin.
Welcome to November episode of PowerLines, hosted at Palm Harbor Library. This episode, you can look forward to our pie baking contest.
We're going to judge the contestants on flavor, color, plating, overall consistency, lack of sawdust, and various other things normal chefs host and judge.
Relative ennui.
Relative ennui. How much umami the pie has.
The crushing sadness of the day.
How much it elevates our moods. I hear the judges are pretty fierce in their judging though.
So, we'll be looking forward to that. Also, stick around for our contest and our very first ever double-header last call.
It's like 1.5 heads, but still more than we used to.
2 short stories.
You might even have to start rooms a little tiny, but
Yeah, the basement shrank a little bit.
yeah, budget cuts.
Every time we make a joke, it gets smaller.
Non-Euclidean spaces and interact with budget, it's weird.
Yeah, and also, why did you have those randos on last time? Why
Well,
didn't you wait for me?
Because somebody was stuck in the roundabout for 8 hours. Apparently that's confusing for some folks.
Oh, okay. Alright, so because there's a...
So you're admitting you're a little baby.
I had a little baby, okay?
Yeah, sure. That's what they all say.
Number 3, actually. So,
Congratulations.
thank you.
On baby. Really need to get into what's going on at the Palm Harbor Library.
Surprise, it's us again for Periodicals.
Just us.
Yeah, we're the only ones who could actually reach this section of the basement. Everyone else, they gave up.
You know this place still has pneumatic tubes? Who has that besides Banks?
Bomb.
Bob, no. Joining us on Tales at the Stillhouse Brewery as they cover the Lincoln Highway.
Also, November 10th, does watching Studio Ghibli fill you with a wonderful sense of whimsy and awe? Well, we have a program with the youth services on November the 10th as well, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Please register adults and kids separately, but we'll be having a festival and youth services in the style of a Japanese festival.
But for adults only, on the 12th of November from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we'll be having Saturday morning cartoons. Which, let's see, I think on the docket this time, they're doing episodes of The Proud Family, which I actually grew up with that.
Do you want to drive a tank? Ages 3 and up, you get to come for Mr. Tony's World of Tanks. That's Saturday, November the 12th, from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Register required. Ever want to drive a tank? Well, you get to now. It's a 1/16 model.
We've got Phil's Book Club on the 14th of November at 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. The Joint Library Director, Gene Coppola, and a discussion of the Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Turkey time drop-in. Ages 3 and up, Monday the 21st from 2 to 3 in the children's room. Stop in for fun Thanksgiving activities, stories, trivia, and crafts. Let's get ready to gobble till we wobble.
On the 15th of November, we're having a Master Gardener's Lecture Series from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. With this month's special guest, Master Gardener Lisa Ryan, presenting the delights of a Florida winter garden. So make sure to check in on that if you're into gardening. And also, at the Palm Harbor Library, they have a selection of seeds that you can choose from to start your own.
Please, limit 3 per week.
Yeah.
Also, recurring in the children's room, we have the story times. We have Baby Bookworms, Mother Goose, and Tyler's Story Time. If you wish to attend, please only select 1 session per day.
On the 23rd of November, we're going to have holiday card making for all ages. Get in the holiday spirit by making personalized cards for those you love. We'll bring the supplies, you bring the creativity.
You think that dude's gonna show up and try to claim up a LaCroix or something?
Listen, I don't know. I think I sent him back where he's supposed to go.
Which installation is this?
This is the Palm Harbor Library.
I claim it for McCrog.
You can't, materials provided and such.
They may be claimed for McCrog and its glory.
They can't. They've already got their thing set. The bugs said they were his friends, so it's good.
So, on Tuesday the 29th, ages 1 to 5 and their caregivers, Mr. Brad's Music in the Palm Harbor Room. Join energetic performance of fun, original, and popular sing-alongs using 7 instruments.
And on the 28th, we'll be having pizza and a movie. This month's movie is Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. That is a good movie.
That's all for this month on Palm Periodicals.
But If you want to see more, and there is a lot more, please go to the website, www.palmharborlibrary.org.
Now for this month's contests.
And you better hope they're good ones, Cheddar, because these are the last ones before we sit down, go through all of them, and judge them and decide who will be the overall winner.
That's right. In December, we will not be holding any contests. We'll be judging the ones who have already contested.
And mark it on the record, I haven't felt anything yet. Nothing except disappointment.
Well, these people are very grateful for us, and they're going to show that through PowerLines.
Because it's Thanksgiving.
Yes, that is the main holiday this month in the United States. So,
In the contiguous United States.
in PowerLines, when we have people take the words on a page and bring them into our very soul,
Allegedly.
evoking emotion, evoking warm feelings of gratitude this month. Let's hear them now. From young author Isaac Paget comes a gripping story of Jack, a young thief whose only goal is to prove his love. Forces at work beyond his sight have other plans, though, and he is thrust into a race against demons to get his hand on a weapon that can, no, will, change history forever. Who can he trust when those closest to him have a knack for betrayal? Jack must push through and beat his enemies, all while trying to protect those he loves. Get your copy now on Amazon Kindle.
Even still, it means a lot to me. Not many would have gone to so much effort on any day, let alone today. How did you even know it was my birthday anyway? I don't remember ever telling you or being around when it was spoken of. You always seem to know things without being told.
Even still, it means a lot to me. Not many would have gone to so much effort on any day, let alone today. How did you even know it was my birthday anyway? I don't remember ever telling you or being around when it was spoken of. You've always seemed to know things without being told.
I am filled with warm feelings, and my Thanksgiving list has grown.
Well, you know, the secret to all this is really just...
How do you seriously not just feel anything?
It's very simple. I haven't listened to a single contest yet, because you told me to wait until the end when we're judging them all. So I've just been... You listen with headphones. I've just been... You know, you have no idea how funny it is watching
just cut the...
On your mark, ready, set, go.
It's called SpeedScroll.
What?
Speed.
Why are you talking so fast?
From author Victor V. Verbicus III, a high fantasy adventure quest series, The Epics of Dijredel. Immerse yourself in a tormented king and follow Dijon, king of Dijredel. You'll meet him halfway through his personal journey, burdened with knowing his own destiny and driven by a desire to be a successful king. He must face his fears and choose his kingdom's longevity or his life. You may foresee the ending of some tales, but destiny still leaves room for surprise. Get your copy, paperback, hardcover, or Amazon Kindle.
Dijon leaned back, pulling another mead from Angelone's cabinet. He refilled their mugs as his eyes glanced over at the locked cabinet. A refined honey scent with a hint of basil, cocoa, and pepper flowed from their mugs. They absorbed as warm, earthly flavors with every sip. Dijon smiled, leaning back. You had magic under my nose. You lied to me in the kingdom. How can I trust your loyalties are true? First, I discovered your wife could have been trying to kill me, and I have been using magic to communicate with her.
Dijon leaned back, pulling another mead from Angelon's cabinet. He refilled their mugs as his eyes glanced over at the locked cabinet. A refined honey scent with a hint of basil, cocoa, and pepper flowered from their mugs. They absorbed its warm, earthy flavors with every sip. Dijon smiled, leaning back. You hid magic under my nose. You lied to me and the kingdom. How can I trust your loyalties are true? First, I discovered your wife could have been trying to kill me, and now you have been using magic to communicate with her.
It's over. Wait, it's over already?
That left me out of breath. Just listening to how fast they were going. I'm pretty sure your phone caught on fire.
It's gonna be hard to actually sit down and judge them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to listen to that like 0.25 speed just to understand what they're saying. But hey, speed's the name of the game.
And here we are for the first annual Palm Harbor Tasting Festival, where contestants have baked their homemade pumpkin pies and are going to present it to us, the judges.
Yes, and in this contest, we will be judging everything on taste, texture,
Plating, arrangements,
lack of sawdust,
ennui,
honey, like a fish.
yeah. So let's bring in our first contestant.
Hello, I'm Fritz Frost, and these are my pumpkin pies. I'll tell you the story. In New Hampshire, this is the only thing we eat in the fall. This and eggnog to fuel us all fall long.
Let's try it.
Oh, come on, I can't.
People eat this all winter. It's amazing you people have survived. Oh gosh, get away.
We don't even get any eggnog.
Oh. I think
No, you need to eat it all! All of it! How dare you? These are the pumpkin pies of my family and the New Hampshire people!
Listen, you.
My mouth feels medium.
Little,
The spices do blend.
little grainy. A lot of cinnamon.
Nutmeg, a little high. Not much sweetness.
I don't know what the crust is made
I'd
out
want to
of.
move out of New Hampshire too.
Well. Ow, why is it sharp?
Can they do this to us?
It's. Alright, we're done. Right? More. You're so fast. And I hope I never have to see Fritz Frost again because she genuinely scares me. Anyway, on to the next contestant.
These pumpkins that are in this pie came from my very own field, and I watched over them and chased the crows away my entire life. These are very important and very well cared for pumpkins.
You said crows pooped on these? Imagine guarding the field for months for that.
Well, no, hang on, wait. No.
Uninspired. I could feel the crows, so you obviously didn't scare them all away. I don't think you could scare a dove away.
I don't know why the crows were interested in these. These are just genuinely.
I mean, the beetles maybe.
Nobody likes the Beatles.
So these are my great grandmother's pie recipe. They made it the first year that my great grandmother and great grandfather were married, and we've had it every single Thanksgiving since. Sometimes we're hard, sometimes we're better, but we always had this pie to keep us together.
Grandma's recipe. Yeah, it smells like mothballs. This makes my mouth unhappy.
I think I'm having. It was the worst set of pies I've ever eaten.
Well, thankfully we only had to eat the one.
No one won, but everyone lost, so we
But
have to have a bake-off, right?
yeah, we think we are proprietors of second chances, so we're gonna give them a chance.
Our contestants are now tasked in 1 hour to make a cranberry sauce using a surprise ingredient.
What is that surprise ingredient, Cheddar?
You felt the fish.
Oh, one more.
Cut.
This is like watching paint dry. Come on.
Looks like they're all sweating it out that final few minutes.
I mean, they better, because what we were handed was not pie. I don't care what they say or what it looked like. That was not pie. That was just disappointment in 3 different plates.
Yeah, this I better at least have something edible this time.
Less like sawdust.
Whoa, that's too hot.
Are they using
See, we're
Potato.
Did she even light her stove?
Whole place down.
Why is she reaching into the sink? This is it. Today's the day.
I got it.
3, 2, 1. Bring us those pies. Bring us that cranberry sauce.
Gosh. You know, my grandma had a cranberry sauce recipe. This is amazing.
This is by far the best cranberry sauce made from gefilte fish I have ever tasted.
Now, if they just ate this, they might have a more populated state.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They might be worth more than like 3 electoral votes. Damn.
Are you still filming? Okay.
Yeah, the texture is just, it's all there. It's, really brings everything together. I'm really getting back of the mouth sweetness, for the mouth.
You know what's selling it? Less of the, no sadness in there.
Yeah, this was happy. They should have just spent their time guarding cranberries from dolphins.
Yeah, why did they start with this?
I don't know.
You know, I heard Bob's in prison.
Yeah. Good. I've never tasted cranberry sauce made from gefilte fish, but this is the best.
This, I have to have more. Matt, we have to come up with a winner.
I think they're all winners.
Really?
I can't decide.
Is this the first ever
I think it's the first ever
triple winner?
triple tie winner.
The first annual, first ever triple winner.
They were all the worst, now they're all the best. Our next segment was actually a VHS submission by Roberto, Rapido, Cetaceo. Let's go ahead and plug this.
Which we're gonna have to borrow a VHS from the library because no one has
how
VHS.
does this even?
No, that's not there. No,
Sure?
it's not. It's
No, they're backwards compatible with Blu-ray, right?
no, they're not. Not even close.
Hey, wait, there's a Betamax player. Oh, almost lost the tape there.
They're not compatible. I'm telling you.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, it's Bob the Fast Talking Dolphin again, tuning in from the camp. Turns out my lawyer didn't know what he was talking about, and I got catfished into the clink. Reduce sentence my spout. Anyhow, enough of that cuttlefish. I'm launching Bob's Fast Talking Bail Bonds. That's right. You know, I'm your slime on the inside, greasing the scales of justice to get you out. Now, I will say, it's as simple as just setting up an appointment to visit me. You tell me your crime, give me all your clams, and you walk out upriver, right? Okay, so where most of the bail boys, yeah, they will take you the whole eel. I'm your shining stingray of hope. Just drop off 95% of whatever you can afford. I'll take care of the rest. Deeds, cash, jewels, stocks, bonds, firstborn, whatever you need to get the law to flounder. I gotta go. It's yard time.
Okay. Next time, we have to proof watch the films that people send in to us and not just put them on live.
How does he keep getting in the program?
I don't. Listen, he's a master of disguise.
And why does Cheddar Cheesy Minis keep sponsoring him?
This This segment is brought to you by Cheddar's Cheesy Minis. Painting miniatures is a passion since 2019. Commissions now open. DM at Ched Cheese Minis on Instagram for details.
So, to calm some of the tensions, we have both decided to pick a weird fact for this episode.
So not only is this the first double feature last call, it's a double feature weird fact.
And mine's definitely better.
It's not.
Rabbits can't be sick.
And the dot on the I and the J is called a tittle.
You said.
This weird fact brought to you by Gaither, Blade, and Bling. We've got everything. Browse a varied and eclectic selection of outdoor gear at gbladebling.biz. Visit our socials and tell them PowerLines sent you with code PALM, that's PALM, for 10% off anything in stock. Orders of over $100 shipped free. International customer? Contact us to help you. Hi everybody. So, we're just gonna have to do last call in here.
Basement keeps getting smaller.
This is the real basement now. We have a door. It doesn't open.
Welcome to Last Call. Today we have our first doubleheader, where we have Fall in the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe.
And A Pickle for the Knowing Ones by Timothy Dexter.
Both amazing short reads.
Emphasis on amazing and short.
And I think Fall in the House of Usher, my copy was 25 pages, and Pickle for the Knowing Ones was what, 30?
About 30, 32.
And did that include the forward?
That is including the forward and the entire page of punctuation.
Yes, the entire page of punctuation. But before
One thing at a time.
Yeah, before we crack into that, let's go ahead and talk about Fall of the House of Usher. So this one was actually the Phil's reading club book for the month of October, and we don't have Jean to talk about it with us. So
It's just going to be us in this cozy little room and you, the audience.
I will say, I think that was probably, aside from Pickle for the Knowing Ones, I think this was absolutely my favorite.
Yeah, so it's very great atmosphere, build up and storytelling.
Any of you whose English teacher gets on you about writing in passive voice, show this to them.
Yeah, this is the perfect passive, like, I'm just existing here.
No, I mean, it's written in passive voice.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times, English teachers are like, no, you can only write active voice. But, yeah, it's definitely show, not tell. A lot of the descriptions just sort of, it feels like the black and white movie. When it talks about the stones, how together they make a grand mansion, but if you look at them, each one is all cracked and weathered and horrible.
And the fact that the mansion itself is ringed by, I think they're called terns, which is like, is that just sort of referring? It's like it's a water-dwelling...
The tarns.
Tarns.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, because they were...
Early drainage ditches.
Basically, but they, yeah. It was like such an interesting word, and there's so many fun, what was it? I sent you a couple of them, and I'll bring them up here, going through our legal work. Just the, not insane necessarily, but some of the fun things. There was phantasmagoric armorial trophies. That was a fun bit of literature there. Followed by a little bit of Latin, which is the Vigile Motorium Secundum Coram Ecclesiae Magnete. That's all wrong. He's the Latin man.
Vigile Motorum Secundum Coram Ecclesiae Maguntinae.
Which either means second funeral song of the Vigil of the Church of Maguntines, or Vigil of the Dead according to the choir of the Church of Maguntine.
I'm going to go with that one just because it actually matched up some of the tenses better.
But ignoring the individual words, it's not about them. It's how they come together to form this narrative of this man coming up to his childhood friend's family home, and just dissecting it bit by bit, like Cheddar was saying about how it's all these individual stones, and if you really look at it, there's a crack from ceiling to base on it. There's just so much. It's all, to be fair, it's all allegories essentially. Yeah.
It's all talking about the person himself, about this is the fall of the House of Usher, the house, but also the house in the medieval sense, where your house of your people is falling. Yes, essentially.
Pull up their names so we can get that.
Essentially, so our protagonist is called to help.
Who was never named, I don't think.
Yeah. He comes to help settle the affairs of his childhood friend Roderick, Usher, who
And
was...
that was the other thing. I was also double making sure it was like Usher, like Usher or something. It's like, no, it's Usher, like the rapper. It's just straight up Usher, the House of Usher. Because I was just like, we're gonna keep saying that, and someone's gonna be like, actually, it's the House of Usher. It's like, listen.
If you haven't actually tell us, please leave it in the comments.
I did the work on this, but yes, please tell me how I'm still wrong.
He's there. He knows it's his friend's final days.
Being super antagonistic this episode.
A lot of the descriptions go into how his looks keep failing, and he spends more time on how his friend looks as the story goes on.
But the writing is also very just friendly. It's
He's there to comfort his friend as he passes on, and
and friends are described as having lovely features. Come on.
Apparently, several days go by as he sort of helps him through his episodes and helps him through his grief and his depression. And he does have a staff who sort of flit in and out here and there. They don't help at certain times. Interestingly enough, for instance, when spoiler, when the sister dies, who
Dun dun dun.
she's seen like once, not mentioned until she's dead.
Seen once in the movie, described twice in the book.
And
But they never like fully say what he has, but I have the passage here. He suffered much from the morbid acuteness of the senses. The most insipid food was alone endurable. He could wear only garments of certain texture. The odors of all flowers were oppressive. His eyes were tortured by even faint light. And there were but peculiar sounds and needs from stringed instruments which did not inspire him with horror.
And he has a condition where sounds make him go nuts. He cannot auditory processing.
Lights hurt him.
Right, and
I will say all of the telltale signs seem like they lead to like brain tumor.
Mhm.
Like in my non-medical opinion.
And he can only handle certain music and stuff that he strums himself. There's actually several pages dedicated to the song that is written.
Yes, and I tried to sing it in different tunes and I couldn't find one. But there is a good like at least page and a half, I would say. Mine has like technically on 3 pages, but
Mine was 3 as well, but it was also like in a collection of short stories.
Right. They I don't know what the tune is. I would love to find out, or perhaps maybe it might have been in the movie. I have no idea.
I'll link it here if it is.
Basically, it's him talking about, as far as I can tell, as far as the song goes, it might be him referring directly to his House of Usher, which starts off grand with golden curtains that have now like lost their luster, and some just
You can see the course of the book following that too, as he reminisces upon childhood, and then slowly is confronted with their advanced age. And at one
very
point,
advanced age of 32.
and at one point, it really gets me where he says, "His very air offended me, but I could scarce deny him the company."
Because that was one of the things, as he was describing his friend's features, it's like basically the light behind his eyes was gone. There was just, he was barely recognizable as his friend except in temperament. Or what was the other thing too? He keeps calling him hypochondriac. Yeah. Which is like, he's a hypochondriac, and it's like, don't know about that, because he seems like he's actually having a terrible time. And the other, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, one of the things that kind of interests me is the lack of dialogue. There are parts where they talk. There's one good chunk where the friend, Mr. Usher, talks and describes, like, basically he goes on this weird rant about what's affecting him. But other than that, it's just the main person we're following self-monologuing his whole situation, and I think that helps a lot, because one thing I didn't like, I bring this up every time, that I didn't like about Jane Austen's Persuasion is a lot of people just kind of talked about nothing. They talked about things that were just not important, or it's like, well, if you actually look at it, these are all thinly veiled insults and compliments, and it's like, okay, but it's not moving the story forward. Versus this, where he's describing things, he's taking his time, but it is undoubtedly pushing the story forward as every word builds a new part of this house, or a new player in this chess game, a new person, a face, and people are given the exact amount of time they are needed. That's it.
I kind of wonder if the main character didn't have a crush on his friend's sister, just to be. We're not going back to Jane Austen. Or
never again, unless they make us.
I mean, they did take away our...
They gave us a small room.
Though he describes the servants coming in and out, and they do perform their tasks, even though they seem to just be doing it out of a sense of duty. They don't seem to have any ambition to go to a different house, to leave and find other employment. They're
there
there
for the long run.
Yep. However, when the sister dies, it's described as him and his friend are the ones who put the body into the coffin.
Yep, no one else, just them. Him and his sickly friend who, what is it? First she dies, and then it takes 3 days for them to move her.
Yeah, they keep her in state, and then they nail down the coffin, and they stick her in the wall.
And hey, Cheddar, how do they keep people in state?
Just
There it is, folks. They put her in state, and then they move her to the dungeon.
And they decide to keep her on the walls as opposed to in the ground.
Which, it's interesting, where I thought he was going to go is like, oh man, this is just going straight to the realm of the telltale heart. Because he talks about entombing her under his bed. Or, not under his bed. In the room, basically directly under where he is staying, the friend.
He starts thinking about how kind of creepy it is that she's basically sleeping, a level or two above where she is in her eternal sleep.
Yeah, but like I said, I thought it was going to go into like the telltale heart, but it didn't because he then immediately leaves the room and goes somewhere else.
Yeah, there is a tiny bit of amontillado in there.
Oh no, the sealing it up. The dungeon was originally made to store gunpowder because it's damp.
And also because she's not actually dead.
Maybe. That's just a theory.
Well,
a palm theory. But that's just a theory.
This theory was not disproven by the author.
I'm generally the person that nitpicks all the bad stuff. There wasn't a lot. I mean, it's Edgar Allan Poe, or as I call him, Nikola Tesla.
You're either gonna love it, or you're just not gonna like it, and that's that.
It's either gonna be full of substance or full of nothing. And that's the thing. You talk about like the hauntings, and there wasn't that much haunting. Like as far as I was aware, until we got to the ending part where the stuff suddenly happened, I thought it was just a story about a man watching his friend die.
And maybe it's because I watched the movie first. We didn't actually read it in high school. We actually just watched the movie and then talked about it. Or I think we read like an edited version. Because it was much more enjoyable this time for sure. It seems like the movie focused more on like the hauntings and the weirdness and the atmosphere.
Which, to be fair, mine says it's 25 pages, but it's at least 3 or 4 of those pages are just extras. So it's mostly just 21 pages, and that's hard to adapt into a full-length movie. So they would focus more. That would make sense.
And Poe, he's very much about his background, so he's setting it up for you, and then your mind carries it from there. Like, okay, you now have this setting, and then now we're going to follow him throughout these few days of, helping.
And that's the thing. I thought it was going into like that when it first kicked off, and it's like all the noise. He was telling his friend a story about a knight and a dragon, but basically every time he made a sound, the exact sound would echo closer and closer until suddenly the door opens and the sister's there.
Yeah.
Apparently she's been making noise, and then you doesn't even really see what happens because he immediately gets up and runs.
Well, he says that that's the last time that he sees her yet alive.
But then he goes outside and he describes like the moon opening up, and it's like suddenly I'm like, are we getting into like cosmic horror?
There's a little bit if you really want to read it like that, I think you could. But Poe's definitely much more atmospheric.
From that chamber, from that mansion, I fled aghast. The storm was still abroad in all its wrath as I found myself crossing the old causeway. Since suddenly there shot along the path a wild light, I turned to see whence the gleam so unusual could be issued. For the vast house and its shadows were alone behind me. The radiance was that of the full setting and blood-red moon, which now shone vividly through the barely discernible fissure of which I had before spoken as extending from the roof of the building.
Yeah, that's the crack in the house of Usher that he keeps going back to. At first, it's only visible if you look directly at the stone, and then it becomes more and more visible. And it seems to track with how his friend is deteriorating, and it sounds like ball lightning that he encountered.
And then he says, the entire orb of the satellite burst at once upon my sight.
That's ball lightning.
My brain reeled as I saw the mighty walls rushing asunder, and basically the house just gets swallowed into the ground.
Yeah, the House of Usher falls. The last one dies, and it's swallowed up.
It's metaphorical, but also this could happen if you build your houses on really bad.
Well, the movie did a really good job of showing it, in my opinion.
That's fair, yeah. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But the story goes where it's going and stays where it needs to, and the ending is sudden, but not unwarranted. It comes almost out of nowhere, but then if it's just some of the descriptions are weird. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But then it's just still like you're watching the slow death of a friend, and it's both literally and metaphorically the last of the Ushers disappear. Honestly, and because the book doesn't waste time, is an interesting time setting, has characters. I'm trying to put my hand in a way that makes so the camera can see flat. Has characters that you actually care for. Well, not even, I don't say you don't even care for them, but you are interested in where they're going. And then the reading time was good. And this is actually the first Edgar Allan Poe. Well, no, that's not true because I've read The Raven and I've read Telltale Heart and Cask of Amontillado, but this is the only one I'm currently remembering.
We memorized Annabelle Lee in middle school.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then it haunts you to this day. But may we all not ever befall what happened to the House of Usher.
There was a fair maiden of whom you may know, whose name was Annabelle Lee. And I can remember what happens because he falls in love. All the winged seraphs in heaven could never look like Annabelle Lee, and then it becomes, if you bring it up, I could probably remember it. And then she ends up dying because heaven was jealous of her. When my mom helped me memorize it way back when, it actually gave her nightmares. So. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to be loved. She lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love. I, my Annabelle Lee, with the love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabelle Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels not half so happy in heaven went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. But her love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. Neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so of all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in their sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. So yeah, he just gives up and lays down and dies next to her tomb.
You know what? Mood. From the Fall of the House of Usher. I will not do this musically because I can't hold the tune other than do. So, the verses which are entitled, he talks about how they made a whole bunch of songs, but this is the only one that can stick in his head. Which, yeah, thanks, Poe. You kind of pat yourself back. We wrote so many songs, but this is the one. But it's called The Haunted Palace and ran very nearly, if not accurately, thus. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch thought's dominion, it stood there. Never seraph spread opinion over fabric half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. All this, was in the olden time long ago. And very gentle air that dallied in that sweet day, along the ramparts plumed and pallid, a winged odor went away. Wanderers in that happy valley through two luminous windows saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law. Round about a throne, there sitting, by I think it's porphyrogeny. It's in parentheses.
If you haven't actually, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, please. In state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen, and all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing, and sparkling evermore. A troop of echoes whose sweet duty was but to sing, in voices surpassing beauty, the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home, the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers now within that valley through the red-lit windows see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody. While, like a rapid ghastly river, through the pale door, a hideous throng rush out forever, and laugh, but smile no more. So, you can kind of take that away if you... It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But, using that, and then... that, and if you look at The Raven and Telltale Heart, Edgar likes certain words. He likes serifs, seraphim, he likes nevermore, he likes... He likes ghastly, he likes, let's see, I think he, obviously sorrow, because sad doesn't rhyme with anything.
Mad, bad.
Dead. I know.
Jeez.
Two different stories written at different times, but with similar themes of the angels. But, it is what it is. That's, he wouldn't be an accomplished writer if he wasn't consistent. And, no one's ever complains like, I like his earlier work. It's like, it's all the same, man. But that doesn't keep it from being interesting, Jane Austen. Roger Usher pales in comparison to the life, fortune, and fame of one Lord Timothy Dexter.
Lord Timothy Dexter of the United States.
Which this is a character that came into our lives recently. This was a real person, Lord Timothy Dexter. I actually, for what it's worth, I'll plug, shameless plug. I saw it on a Sam O'Nella video on YouTube, and he recently just made a video after like 4 or 5 years. Just his history. It's insane. By all accounts, he should have failed multiple times.
He was a second grade dropout. At the time it was very common to drop out to help support farm work, which is essentially what he did.
Yeah.
But in his case, he married way up.
Well, he started off knowing he was meant for more.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So he married a rich widow.
Yeah,
he got in there.
Yeah. And apparently he he knew that he was upper crust the whole time.
Oh, he was upper crust before he married. He was.
Mm-hmm. He was just waiting for everyone to acknowledge it.
Oh, of course. And first he needed to. He somehow he annoyed the people of Malden, Massachusetts.
I think so.
I'll double check. So he was born in Malden, Massachusetts, and he basically bothered all of the local government of Malden so much to give him an official position.
Yes, he kept running and applying to run and applying for positions. They came up with they created a position for him.
Yep, just to shut him up. And that was it was
Deer counter, was it?
official deer counter of Malden.
There are no deer in Malden.
Not one, not a single one. Certainly not in 1755, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was good enough for him. He was now part of the upper crust, and then his life was just a mess. I don't want to say too much because we did get some of this from the Sam O'Nella video, and we want you to save some there. But we found his book that he wrote.
A Pickle for the Knowing Ones.
This is the 4th edition, and the only real interesting thing about it is that in the 1st edition, there was no punctuation, and there's random capitalization, and the words were spelled wrong.
They still are spelled wrong.
They still are spelled wrong. The only thing is, when the 2nd edition rolled around, what he did was he made an entire page of nothing but punctuation, and told people basically find out where you want it and stick it there. which, as much as I want to hate this guy, is the coolest thing you can ever say to someone who criticizes your book. But,
This edition also contains his obituary, I believe.
It does, yep.
Lord Dexter is a man of fame, most celebrated is his name. More precious far than gold that's pure, Lord Dexter live forevermore. His noble house, it shines more bright than Lebanon's most pleasant height. Never was one who stepped therein who wanted to come out again. His house is filled with sweet perfumes, rich furniture doth fill his rooms. Inside and out it is adorned, and on the top an eagle's formed. His house is white and trimmed with green, for many miles it may be seen. It shines as bright as any star, the fame of it has spread afar.
And you can
And
tell,
so on and so forth.
and you can tell that he didn't write that because
Did the original video say anything about his height?
no, it did not.
Okay, because Lebanon's height, that's about like Lebanon's trees. Saying he's like as tall as
He's as tall as a tree.
as not just a Danny tree, but a Lebanon cedar.
This man lived an interesting life, to be fair. After his very first fortune scheme was
The
This
Continental
was-
Dollar.
Yep, this is before, during, and after the American War for
Independence.
and I almost said American War for Revolution, because that's just totally messing that up. The American Revolutionary War for Independence. That's a mouthful. Put that on a flag.
The Continental Congress, in order to separate themselves from the pound, they started printing the Continental Dollar. Of course, it was on paper, and one of the ways that the colonies were destabilized was there were literal ships commissioned by the crown to set up with printers and deliver piles of Continental dollars to people's mailboxes at night. They would literally sit their ship, print these Continental dollars, stuff them in mailboxes so it crashed the value.
And it mostly worked, except that we won USA, USA. But people were still getting paid in this, and understandably, it was worthless. So Congress then, Congress or the Treasury? The Treasury then passed
Well, because first they started allowing states to mint coins, was it?
Yes. That's right, yeah,
Coins
they
and
started the
script.
coins, and then they started trading in the paper for the coins.
So you could get rid of your paper for, it was a fraction of the value. So
Like pennies on the dollar.
essentially, think of like when the Reichsmarks were swapped out for Deutschmarks in Germany.
In World War II.
Yeah, well, no, after that.
After World War II.
Yeah, in the hyperinflation, when they swapped out all the piles and piles and piles of the old Reichsmarks, they swapped them for Deutschmarks, but they had to figure out the exchange rate to make it equitable. This is kind of what they were doing. They took all these mountains of Continental dollars and were paying essentially pennies for them. And he decided to...
He spent most of his fortune on just buying useless cash. And everyone was like, wow, what an idiot. Because, to be fair, yeah, what an idiot. Who would do that?
But then
either Congress or the Treasury basically told everyone, hey, we'll give you like a percentage on every single individual bill.
as long as you turn it in for
As long as you
new
turn it in.
currency.
So he has a literal fortune's worth of useless money that now suddenly
It's worth something.
is worth, I think it was like worth double or triple what he paid.
Something like that. So he had crates and crates and crates.
This is the man that sold warming pans to the Caribbean at an 80% markup. He sold 40,000 warming pans to the Caribbean.
You know, his friends, they were tired of him, so they figured, we'll give him some bad advice and he'll bankrupt himself. So anyone who doesn't know what a warming pan is, it's a cast iron skillet, basically, you put coals into for when your bed is cold at night. The Caribbean is pretty tropical down there.
The Caribbean is the Caribbean.
So aside from being Elizabeth Swann in Pirates of the Caribbean, you don't generally need one.
Right, I was gonna say that was a weird one.
Mm-hmm. That was one of his.
Yeah, that would be one of his, actually, yes. And they didn't know what to do with them.
But what they do have is molasses and sugar and rum, and so all the refiners like, we can use these to stir up and ladle up the sugar.
So he sent 40,000 of them, sold out of all of them at 80% profit. We could keep going on and on about this, but we're going to leave some for you to find out on your own.
Yeah.
And that was his life until he died twice. because he had a fake funeral for
Yes,
himself.
just to see who would show up.
And a surprising amount of people did, but his wife wasn't crying enough.
So he crashed his own funeral.
Yeah. So when it comes to a pickle for the knowing ones, I didn't actually have a lot of time to dig into it deeply.
You could probably spend an entire college class just dissecting
You
this.
could actually. It's a short story. It's about the same length, slightly longer than the story we just read.
The following pieces are not my writing, but very droll.
Very droll. There is. You want to? Okay, Matt. How do you spell attitude?
Attitude?
Attitude.
A-T-T-I-T-U-D-E.
Okay. He spells attitude A-D-T-E-T-O-U-D-E. This man also politics. He adds a K.
Now, that being said, politicking does have a K in it.
Okay.
So we'll give him that one.
We'll give this second grade. Let's see. Eagle spread. He says he is spread eagle. S-P-R-E-D. Capital E-A-G-E-L. Eagle. So this book is more. Basically, he's got me doing it. He's got me doing it now in real life. Basically, he wrote this book to talk about his success. It's a mess. His whole career was pure luck. The spelling is all wrong.
And it's amazing for it.
It's such a slap in the face compared to.
Now, mind you, almanacs were a big thing at the time to foretell things, tell people what to do.
Yeah.
The Farmer's Almanac is one of the longest running and still existing ones for the seasons and crop times and things like that. This is essentially his almanac for people. This was him telling people how to gain success and impart his, what did he call himself, the world's greatest philosopher?
The greatest philosopher in the Western world.
Yes.
He commissioned over 49 statues, including his own.
Now, how do you spell actions?
A-C, actually I didn't spell that well. A-C-T-I-O-N-S?
How about A-X-S-I-O-N-S?
Well, he spells amongst as amongst. A-M-O-N-K-S.
It's too bad he didn't do Mogus.
Stop. Capitalize that as a punctuate. He capitalizes almost every instance of the letter A. He capitalizes his eyes, which is basic stuff. But it's so... It's not even like older writing where it's like sometimes it's like, is that an F or a PH or what is that? Is that the? No, this is all standard English. Like, it's standard, really standardized English.
Friends, hear me, 2 grenadiers goes up in 2 days for der fry, will tell a type of man, what is this, 35 or 36 years ago, town called Newbury, all one United States, Newbury, peep together quiet till the learned growed strong for the farmers. 2 out of 20 they wanted to have the officers in the country. Tuned to see, Port would have them jeering.
Hang on, there's another one here. I was gonna say.
You can read this for free on Google Books.
You can. It's just there if you type in a pickle for the knowing ones. But there's just one more quote here. I was being an idiot just there. I was looking for the punctuation to start the sentence, and then I remembered he doesn't put punctuation anywhere in this book.
No, he has a peeling stick in the back.
He said, "Now men mad to be in office, it hurts the popul ought large, like carrying an indigent lamb to the slaughter." I'm having a stroke.
I think he was actually bashing the Pope then.
Yeah. Now governing death in the grandeur, you will sue. It's technically S-O-U-S. You put S-O-U. I don't even know what the word's supposed to mean.
Can you see which one are you doing?
He keeps ending his pages with his name. He keeps ending paragraphs with Timothy Dexter.
That may actually be just the printing.
And then at some point it just says T Dexter, and the next one is TDs. And then it says from the Museum of Timothy Dexter Esquire.
So he's Lord Timothy Dexter Esquire.
For I have the lamb to lay down in the lion now. This may be done if those 3 powers could Get ready to lay what is called devil, that one side not carry the gentleman pack horse any longer. That is a sentence.
You really just gotta read it for yourself.
Yeah, I can't. It's such a visual gag that it's not even.
If
Hey, this would be really good for
the poem
for
of
speed
library.
reading. This would be really good for our speed reading segment.
If we didn't have some very loyal authors who were sponsoring us.
Yeah. And we love you more than Timothy Dexter. I'll give you that right now.
So, thank you for tuning in. And if you have comments, please leave them down below. If you want to correct us in anything, please leave them down below. And
But most of all, I really just want you to read these 2 stories. They're so good in the opposite direction.
go check them out at your local library, or if you're in the area, Palm Harbor Library. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Make sure to check us out on our social media with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and of course TikTok.